Last fall, families in Calgary experienced a living nightmare, an E. coli outbreak affecting 17 licensed childcare facilities around the city. More than 400 people, mostly children, became ill during the most serious E. coli outbreak in Alberta's history. 39 individuals were sick enough to require hospitalization, and some of them are still requiring long-term health support as a result. Thankfully, families were spared the worst. There were no deaths resulting from this outbreak. But while the situation didn't end in deaths, we do recognize the devastating impact it had on those who were affected by it. The children who got sick and their family members who suffered the pain and anxiety of watching their loved ones fight for their lives. Some impacts are still being felt today, almost a year later. When parents put their children in daycare, they do so trusting that their kids will be cared for and kept safe. And that's because we have systems in place to regulate and monitor health and safety practices in licensed facilities. We know this outbreak has shaken that trust, and as policymakers, we must do whatever we can to ensure this doesn't happen again. During the crisis, our top priorities were looking after the people who got sick and tracking and containing the source of the outbreak. But we also recognized that we needed a clearer understanding of how it happened. That's why, as the crisis was unfolding last September, I called for the creation of a review panel to get to the bottom of what caused the outbreak and to ensure the policies are in place to hold operators accountable and to prevent it from happening again. The review panel, led by former Calgary Police Chief Rick Hansen, was made up of childcare operators, a food service operator, and subject matter experts, including a pediatrician, who treated some of the children. Their task was to conduct a comprehensive review of the government policies and food safety practices that keep our children safe. The review panel carefully considered every angle of this issue over 7 months. Their work included a thorough review of the relevant legislation, regulations, and inspection processes, as well as an engagement with people involved in the outbreak. The review panel produced a report with 12 primary recommendations and 27 sub-recommendations for strengthening food safety in Alberta's licensed childcare facilities and the kitchens that serve them. These recommendations include promoting a culture of food safety, making improvements to legislation and inspection systems for food safety, and establishing new major investigations protocols with consequences for operators who've been found to have repeat violations, and supporting better system alignment and integration in our food safety system. I do have to thank the panel members for their work and their dedication to this critical task. It's exactly the kind of thorough, solutions-oriented analysis I expected when appointing a 40-year law enforcement veteran to chair the review panel. Since receiving the report, our government has been studying its recommendations carefully. We will be acting on some of the recommendations immediately. Some will require us to change existing laws and regulations, and others will require more considerations so we fully understand how they'll impact childcare operators, food service operators, and families. But let me be clear, it's our government's intention to act on every recommendation we can to protect the children's safety and to restore trust in the system. Thanks to the members of the review panel, what we have here is a detailed roadmap for improving food safety in Alberta, and those improvements to policies are exactly what we'll deliver. Question for the Premier, if you please. Just speaking with some of the parents in their reaction, I understand that you guys were able to provide them with their own briefing this morning. You know, I know that a lot of this review had focused on food safety. They say that it's the child care system that's broken and that failed them, and they point to being, asked, for example, to sign something waiving a provider's liability for their child's health and safety while in their care. Is there enough oversight that's happening of the child care system? Is it broken, and did it fail kids in this respect? Look, I'll have Minister Jones respond to that.
Thank you, Premier, and certainly this situation did rock people's trust in the system. What I would say is that we have over 100,000 children in care every day, and that the vast majority of operators are committed to their health, safety, and well-being. In some cases, we do see incidents where operators or perhaps their staff members do not consistently implement a culture of food safety in their work, and that's why it's important, why the panel's recommendations are so important, so that we as government can improve the standards. We can raise the bar even higher, and we already have high standards, but we are going to raise the bar even higher. We are going to put in tools to hold people accountable, and we're going to increase transparency so that parents can see an operator's track record. How was their previous health inspection? Do I trust this operator to care for my child? Do I trust this operator to feed my child? This is information that they will have. And I can assure you, as Minister responsible for childcare, we are going to hold those accountable who don't protect children. So that's my message. Again, I believe the vast majority of providers do this every day. That's why this outbreak, while tragic, this is the first outbreak of this magnitude in Alberta's history. So I do believe the system is committed to working with us to improve safety across the board, and we will have additional measures in place to hold those accountable who don't.